Hey everyone, Kate Bohr and Fiona Pearman joining you for this week's Facebook Live, where we're digging into the concept of confidence, very much the genesis of where our work started when I was way back, oh goodness me, I think 2015, and we were talking about what is confidence, how do we define it, how do we achieve it, and reflecting on my own corporate journey. We really started to dig into how we hold confidence, what's our relationship with confidence. And I think what's really interesting as you start to dig into your relationship with confidence is many people believe that it is a trait. Either I have confidence or I don't have confidence, a little bit like the color of our eyes. And I think what's always really curious is people love labels, like the whole introvert, extrovert, or personality profiling. This piece of I am or I'm not is always really interesting and curious to dig into.
Yeah, I think this is a really, it's like a lot of the tools that are used in organizations, or even, those little pop psychology quizzes, all of the things that go on tend to put us into boxes. They give us a definition, I'm a shy person, I'm an introverted person, I'm a this, I'm a that. And when we hear it in those terms, we can often internalize it and make that a reality. We can think, well, that's my identity. I'm that kind of person. And in my life, I'm not going to have that thing that I see other people have. I'm not going to be able to be assertive in situations. I'm not going to be able to put my viewpoint forward. I'm not going to be the kind of person who speaks up. And I think what we've noticed in our work is we can challenge all of this. We can actually question it. And in our experience, confidence is something that is context dependent, because we all have, and we've all been in situations where we feel really confident, where we're clear about what we're doing, when we're in rooms with our teams, or people we know well, and that sort of thing. And we have no problem sharing information and talking and asking questions and doing all of the things that in other situations take us into a place where we're with senior executives or a board meeting, or we're in with the exco, for instance, and immediately something very different goes on. And it's not that we've changed or our knowledge has changed, but something goes on internally that undermines our confidence in those different situations. And I think this is where it gets interesting to start to dig into.
Yeah, I think this really takes us back to, the work we were doing when we were doing research for the book. We'd be in workshops with women talking about exploring what their relationship with confidence, and they would say, I can be having one conversation with my team, and I feel really confident, comfortable, certain. And then if I was to walk out of that room and walk into the next room next door and have that same conversation, present that same content with a different group of stakeholders, my confidence would go from here to here. And so as we started to dig into that, which has provided, very much, I guess, incredible, rich concepts, content for us to talk about in the book called Confidence, but then, of course, more importantly, in the book, in our program, Acts of Confidence. What's shifted is the beliefs and expectations of both those conversations. In one room, I feel safe. In one room, I have certainty around who I'm talking to, what's expected of me, how those people are going to respond, because I have closer relationships with those colleagues. In another room, I don't know those people so well. The costs of getting something wrong are higher. I'm possibly a little bit unclear about what they're expecting of me in that room as well. So what's consistent is there is a whole lot of uncertainty. And when we know uncertainty is present, our self-doubt goes up, and our fear goes up as well. And of course, when we're in that state, we're not showing up as our best selves, and our brain's not going to operate at its optimum level, because we are likely to be in a fight or flight state.
Yeah, I think the really big opportunity here, and this is why the work we do in the Acts of Confidence program is so powerful, is we really give people the space and time to understand this kind of inner psychology, what's happening for me, the expectations I have of myself, the labels potentially I put on myself and decided are part of my identity, and to just start to gently and compassionately question that, and to raise some ideas around, well, is that true? Or are my ideas as concrete or as certain as I thought they were? How can I disrupt some of this thinking that potentially is holding me back from achieving all that I'm capable of? And what we love is that, there are really specific things that you can do to address this idea that confidence is something that's outside of me, or it's something that some people have and some people don't. And the first is to really get clear. To really get clear on what your role is and what the expectations are that you have of yourself, but also the expectations others might have. And the more clarity we have, which is active confidence number one, the more likely we are to speak up, to ask good questions, to engage in a way that is confident, does allow other people to see our talent and experience the fullness of what we have to offer. And the more clarity we have, the more likely we are to take that step and do something that maybe feels a bit uncomfortable, but we will step into that because we have a good understanding of what's going on around us.
Yeah, I think what particularly the Active Confidence Program allows us to do is to build our awareness around what's going on for us in relationship to confidence and the context with which we're operating in, to build our own self-coaching capability so that when we are in that moment where we are needing to present to that group of stakeholders who are a higher stakes stakeholder group, that we're able to understand what's going on, that we're resourced to ask ourselves, but also, maybe our leader some really great questions to get that clarity, and that we can recognize and coach ourselves through the fear so that we're able to show up resourced to present in an equal way that we would, and in a way where we feel not equally as comfortable, because the reality is a group of senior stakeholders, we're not going to be as comfortable with them as we are with a group of peers. So it is going to feel a little bit more uncomfortable, but that it's that the friction and tension and stress and anxiety of presenting to that group is minimized. And then I feel resourced to be able to do that. And I don't default to strategies like over preparing, being able to answer every question, right? Because the cost of the over preparedness, the time, the energy, the exhaustion, and the compromise of what we're not doing when we're over preparing is too high. And it is not a sustainable strategy as a pathway to confidence.
I think the big piece here is we have an opportunity to redefine our relationship with fear and failure. And wherever we see that something is risky or feels a little bit as though something could go wrong, we will naturally, fear will come up. And that's why the work we do is so powerful, because it's very practical in the sense that there's lots of opportunities for us to take what we call small acts of confidence, to engage with and to do something that's a little bit beyond my comfort zone, that feels difficult, and yet I'm willing to give it a go, because we know that by taking those small acts of confidence, by doing something differently, we will start to calibrate and to actually right size that fear that's going on naturally, the fear that's naturally there. And we'll have some experience and some feedback that will allow us to actually start to build what we call like a confidence muscle, this inner ability to be able to stay in the difficulty or stay in the tension, because we know that it's worth doing it, that it's worth giving it a go and trying something.
Jen, we're going to leave it there. If you enjoyed today's confidence conversation, we'd love to hear from you. We'd love for you to share it with someone in your world who perhaps might benefit from today's conversation. If you're interested in finding out more about working with us, you can head over to our website, coreconfidence.com.au. You can find out more about our book and order a copy there, and also find out more about the Acts of Confidence program as well.